I guess after you watch that, you might have thought, oh, your good old buddy Carolina Jackpot, he's jumping ship. Not happening. Carolina Jackpot was very angry last night, and consequently, I went live after the football game, and I was in my feelings. Raw emotion is sometimes really entertaining to watch when it's on display. So this one will probably not be quite as exciting as that one, but this recapping yesterday and the action. I deleted that one from last night. The language in that used in that one was a little bit salty, even for me, and just not something that I want to portray. I don't want to get my channel demonetized by YouTube or anything like that and send the wrong message out. So I just chose to make this one today and go a different route. But all I can say about yesterday's game against North Carolina, woo! I mean, sometimes you got to laugh to keep from crying, and that was the way I felt about that one yesterday. Coach Muschamp, I'll no longer be referring to him as Coach Boom. He is must dump to me now. And I'm going to tell you guys, I mean, I've tried and tried to like the guy. I've tried to. My mom, one of the biggest Gamecock fans for a long time that I've known, we went to all the games together for 10, 12 years when I was growing up, season ticket holders. She gave up her season's tickets probably, I don't know, about the time I turned 22, 23. She just, wasn't interested in going anymore, but still remained a fan. She never would watch the real big games, though, on TV. She's always real nervous and stuff like that. And, when they hired him, 4 years ago, she's like, I cannot believe that they hired him to coach this football team. She said, I'm not pulling for him until they get rid of him. She's like, why would you hire somebody who can't win at another school, and you're going to bring him here and think that he's going to be a winner? Now, that kind of goes both ways. I mean, that's like saying, Joe Schmo loses his job at this factory, even though he knows what he's doing because he made a few mistakes and he screwed up, and maybe, this factory was pretty strict. But that's not to say that Joe Schmo can't go to a factory down the road and, and relearn his factory skills, for lack of better terms, and become a decent or productive worker. But with this guy, more and more, I believe that it is absolutely true. He sucks. His play calling yesterday in the most crucial of situations was very vanilla. It was very ultra conservative and ended up losing the football game. But you know what? People, they're looking at that and inside a bottle and complaining about those fourth downs he didn't go for it on. That made him really upset at the end of the first half when I still had, 57, 58 seconds to play and got the ball back, and he just chose to take a knee and or just run it up the middle or whatever the heck we did there. They're looking at that and they're basing his bad coaching decision on that. I mean, it's more than that. It's so much more than that. This team wasn't prepared. If you don't know already, I've talked about it in a video before. I've been doing a lot of listening to the Zach Smith podcast, the former Ohio State assistant coach who got fired last year. He's allegedly beat up his wife, and there was some domestic violence stuff there. And one of those ESPN Brett McMurphy, this reporter, kind of drug his name through the mud and this and that. And he, swears up and down that he didn't do it and that they just had a very bad relationship. I don't know. I'm not a judge, so I can't, pass judgment on the guy. But when you listen to him talk football, he knows his stuff, and you can tell that. But doesn't want to coach anymore. But he was talking about training camps. He talked about training camps a lot in some of his podcasts. He's talking about your training camp's got to be right. You can tell by watching a team play their first game or the first two games, you can tell if their training camp was right or not. And obviously, South Carolina's training camp wasn't right. I mean, we have a talented defensive line, best one coming back that Muschamp has had, so he says. Some of the skill position players are some of the best had. Yes, we lost Keel Pollard, tight end, and that was unfortunate. But Kyle Markway, who's junior, is a very capable player. He's capable as far as catching the ball and picking up yardage. I don't know if he's quite as good as Keel on the line of scrimmage or not, which we saw yesterday. I think there was some misassignments there. And you can tell if a line is getting pushed. And that offensive line was not getting pushed against UNC's defensive line. A crap show defensive line at that, will you? They are a lower level ACC Coastal team. They are on the lower level of the bad side of the ACC. And, these North Carolina fans can sit here and talk to me all day long. They tell me, well, we were 2-9 last year because we had a bunch of players suspended, and, we really weren't that bad because we lost some close games. Yeah, I know all that. But guess what? If you really weren't that bad, Larry Fedora wouldn't have been shown the door. He was shown the door. So you really were that bad. I mean, they fired him. They fired your coach. You were not good last year. I don't care what you kept close, and I don't care who got kicked off the team for selling their damn Jordans. It don't make no difference to me. I almost said jorts right there. You're not a good team. You played better than us yesterday, but that still doesn't make you a good team because guess what? We're not a good team. We are not a good team. Jake Bentley, I'm sure he's a nice kid, but he's not a quarterback. He is not a Division I quarterback because he cannot make decisions under pressure. As Uncle Lou says in a lot of his videos, Jake Bentley's never seen a receiver that was covered. And it's true. He thinks everybody's wide open. He tries to, make miracles happen. Granted, some of this is not on him as much as it is on the offensive line because they were not blocking yesterday the way that I'd like to see them block. But still, you've got to avoid some pressure. You're going to face some pressure regardless. It's not going to be flawless execution every time. And you're going to have, 3 or 4 seconds to sit back there in the pocket and just think about what you're going to do. You're going to face some pressure. And he's not good under pressure. There were 2 interceptions yesterday, 2 picks in the red zone to a horrible defense. I don't know what else to say. So Boom, or whatever his name is, must dumps, crappy decision-making. In theory and in likelihood and in a perfect world, it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered because South Carolina should have been up by like 3 scores on that team. You were that much more talented than them, yet it didn't show, and you didn't take advantage of any of it. You lost to a true freshman. You lost to an 18-year-old quarterback and an old man, a 68-year-old old guy who hasn't coached since 2013. Offenses have changed drastically since the last time this guy wore a headset. They have. And I know he's been involved with football. He's been working for whoever it was, Fox, ESPN, whoever the heck he works for. But he's not been on the field. He's not been on the press box as a engaging coach with a team. And you lost to him. They say, well, he got some good coordinators working for him. Aren't we supposed to have good coordinators? Isn't Brian McClendon supposed to have this up-tempo defense or up-tempo offense? I've gotten so ill that I can't even keep my sides of the ball straight anymore. And he's supposed to have an up-tempo offense? Yeah, really? Why do we take a knee when we got 58 seconds left and we're up 13-7 and we have a chance to maybe tack on an extra 3 or 7 points? You don't just besmirch opportunities to score. I'm sorry, you don't. But like I say, once again, if you had executed, if you had played South Carolina football and put strength on strength, you'd have won the game, and that wouldn't have mattered. But you got whipped at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, in my opinion, and then you lost the game. Yeah, we looked good. coming out. Rico Dowdle looked good carrying the ball the first 2 or 3 carries of the game. I think he got pushed a little bit by Tavian Feaster being around there. But, it didn't hold up. I don't know if we stopped blocking or they made some adjustments. But you know what? If they make some adjustments, you adjust. De'Carrion Joyner, we saw him for 2 plays? I saw him get his helmet knocked off, and then I never saw him again. I don't think he was hurt. He didn't limp off the field. He jumped up and ran off the field because you have to take a play off after your helmet gets knocked off. It's a rule. But never saw him again. He'll be gone. He'll end up in the transfer portal, I say, within the next couple of weeks. I mean, he wants to play. He wants to be a part of the team. He's explosive. You weren't explosive yesterday. You could have used him. But once again, we don't utilize our resources, and we lose to a team that's not very good. And now, looking at the season, is the season a total loss right now? No, it's not. Not after one game. And people who are jumping, off the ledge right now and saying we're going to win 2 games, I mean, you've got to let the season play out, okay? I mean, there are winnable games on that schedule. I think they still make a bowl game. If you've watched my videos before, we've talked about betting and stuff like that before. Las Vegas will tell you that no team is as bad as they looked the week before, and no team is really as good as they looked the week before. And I honestly believe that. And if you look over the history of time, it's true. So it's not the time to just abandon and give up off the team. And believe me, I've wanted to multiple times, but, I just can't. I mean, I got too much invested. I mean, we've been together for 40 years. I mean, it's like a marriage. I'm 44 years old. I remember going to my first South Carolina Gamecocks game when I was 4 years old. In 1979, they played Ole Miss. I know we lost the game, but I can barely remember anything about it. I do remember the next year us playing the Citadel at home, and that was a day game, and I got to go to that one, and we actually won that one, don't worry. I think we won like 45-24. I remember that George Rogers ran for like 200 yards on them, and they had an NFL running back too at the time. But, excuse me, I remember the Citadel had a live bulldog mascot, and, we were down. Our seats were fairly close to the field at the time, and we had walked all the way down to the field level right there where you're between us and the fence, and there was a little bit of shrubbery there, and then there was, the Citadel sideline. And I remember we'd walked down there and looked, and they had a live bulldog mascot at the time, and he had took a dump on the Williams-Brice AstroTurf. And I mean, I'm 5 years old, so I thought that was the greatest and funniest thing in the world that this dog had took a dump down there. And I'm like, my mommy, who's gonna clean it up? But at any rate, I have memories like that, and people want to besmirch your fanhood and stuff like that. What team you pull for? Everybody's best memory of your team's best season is not going to be a national championship season, okay? With Clemson fan, it is. With Florida State fan, it is. With Alabama fan, it is. With us, it's not. Our best memory is 11-2 season right now, finishing ranked number 4th. 1984, almost making it to the national championship. I mean, that kind of thing, beating Ohio State 2 years in a row in bowl games. There's been a lot of bad times, been a lot of bad, tough times. But if I can make it through going 1-10 under Brad Scott and 0-11 under Lou Holtz back-to-back years, I could make it through an upset loss to North Carolina. But hopefully it was an upset. Hopefully we are better than this, and play will continue to improve this year, and we'll still win 6 ball games. I had predicted 8-4. I don't think we're going to get there, but I do think 6 or 7 wins is possible. There's 6 wins on that schedule. Charleston Southern, Appalachian State are wins. Vanderbilt is a winnable game. Kentucky is a winnable game. They struggled yesterday with Toledo. I don't think they're a very good team. Missouri is obviously a winnable game. That's 5 right there. I mean, and we can find another one somewhere. Oh, Tennessee, another winnable game. And I want to talk about the SEC for just a minute. They kind of made themselves look bad yesterday. And I've been hearing crap from Clemson fans. I've got a lot of Clemson fans that are friends of mine, but some of these people are just ignorant, and they really, really get under my skin. I mean, they really do. And all summer long, I have heard them cry about people saying that they don't play anybody. Why? If you're the defending national champions, you've won 2 out of the last three national championships. You've won 2 of 3. You like to put, the world in a 3-year window, and so we've won 2 of 3. Okay, you've won 2 of 3. If my team had won 2 of 3 national championships, nothing that you can say to me would bother me. I mean, everything that you would say, I would just laugh at, and I would keep going. But you people get so upset because everybody says you play nobody, and then they want to throw up these things. But South Carolina lost to North Carolina. Ole Miss lost to Memphis. Missouri lost to Wyoming, and Tennessee lost to Georgia State. Okay? What does that have to do with your schedule? Your schedule's still garbage, and you still play a bunch of weak teams. It doesn't matter that these teams in the SEC are weak. We didn't say they were. And those people that say Alabama's beat up from playing an SEC schedule, they're talking about playing the Georgias and the LSUs and the Auburns and the Texas A&Ms. They're talking about them playing the bigger boys in the SEC. SEC ain't got but about 5 big boys in it. Alabama, Georgia, LSU, I guess Auburn now looked pretty good last night, and Texas A&M, I think, are what I would consider big boys. Auburn kind of flirts in between the big boys and not the big boys. So does Texas A&M. Sometimes Florida looks like a big boy. Right now, they're not in big boy category, in my opinion. Felipe Franks in that game the other night looked about Jake Bentley-like. I mean, he was a hair better because he was still able to lead his team to a win, which, as a senior quarterback, Jake Bentley should have been able to lead his team to a win. He should have been able to lead his team to a win there within the last 2 minutes of that ball game. And I thought he was. But then all of a sudden, boom, there it goes. He's picked off and the game's over with. I don't know why I didn't see it coming from a country mile away. But I didn't. But those are still winnable games. Of all the teams that lost yesterday in the SEC, I think the one with the upside that has the most upside is still Missouri. I think Wyoming is probably a difficult place to play. I think they've probably got a pretty decent team this year as far as Mid or Mountain West Conference level teams go. And that was probably a little tougher place to play for them. And they weren't used to the element, and therefore they got shocked. Tennessee losing at home to Georgia State was simply unexcusable. That was an even worse loss than the Gamecocks loss. It was significantly worse than the Gamecocks loss, to be honest with you. Georgia State has never beaten a Power 5 school, but they have after yesterday. So where do we go from here? Just got to keep moving forward. Don't give up on your team. That's just what I'm saying. If you're a Gamecock fan, don't give up on your team. It's okay to give up on the coach. I mean, I'm tired of him. I'm done. But we got to ride this out, guys. We have to ride this out together because in the end, me, you, my friends who are Gamecocks, my son, who's a big Gamecock fan, 80,000 people at Phil Williams-Brice Stadium up every given Saturday, the hundreds of thousands of members of this Gamecock club, whatever, the alumni, we're all going to be Gamecocks for a lot longer than Muschamp is. This guy's working on borrowed time right now, and he's skating on extremely, extremely thin ice. And in my opinion, the ice broke through yesterday. I think they're probably just waiting for the end of the season right now at this point. But we got to ride it out together. Don't give up on your team. They can still salvage a decent year. I hope if this team on sheer talent is able to salvage like a 7-5, 6-6 record, that they still evaluate him and let's do something to move him out because they could have done so much better. There are times when I wish they just kept Sean Elliott on after the 2015 season and cut your losses. I mean, you could have gotten him a lot cheaper and probably had about the same results. Heck, you might have done even a little bit better. Who knows? But getting out of here now, Carolina jackpot. Oh, my college football picks, by the way. So far, there's still 2 games left on this week's slate. With a record of 18-17 against the spread. Not great. I'd like it to be better, but there have been weeks in the past where I actually had a losing record against the spread. It's really hard to predict week 1 games, especially when you're predicting that many of them. I'm going to try to scale it down to about 20 a week. Right now, I had high hopes of being able to do every game on the board for you guys every week, but a lot of times you bite off more than you can chew, and I bit off a little bit more than I could chew this past week. The Thursday and Friday games, I really did pretty well on those because I was able to put research into them. Probably 10, 15 minutes per game I put researching the teams last year, this year. The ones I did for Saturday, I kind of went sight unseen off the cuff. Didn't do quite as well on those. And I like to bring a quality product to my platform here, so I'm going to scale it down to where there are a number of games that I can do each week, about 20 of them, that I can do the research on so I can make an educated pick. I just work too many hours in a day. Work about 11 hours a day, and then between going to work and coming back, that's another hour and a half between the 2 trips. And, it's just too much. You get at home, and there are things you got to do here, too. You got to mow the grass, you got to wash the clothes, you got to clean the bathroom, you got to, do things around the house as well. So there's that, but I will do as many of them as possible because people seem to really enjoy those, and I enjoy it too. So I'm going to get off here, guys. Stop rambling. Go Gamecocks. Fire must dump. It'll be better for your health, and let's get that win over Charleston Southern this weekend. I'll see y'all later. Peace, and I'm out. Go Gamecocks. Woo!